You're sitting there thinking, why should I play with this guy? Why should I play this game? Because based on what I've seen, if I get the answer right, he's not going to say anything. And if I get it wrong, he's going to embarrass me. So why should I volunteer? You see, what I've done is knocked all of the risk-taking out of you. When we deal with learning disabled adults, we find their most common problem is they won't take chances. Because all of the risk-taking was knocked out of them in their early years. Because you've learned that if you get the answer correct, I'm not going to give you any reinforcement. You're thinking, what's the best that can happen? The best that can happen here is that I get the answer correct and he won't say anything. But the worst that can happen is I get it wrong and he's going to embarrass me. So I'm just going to sit here. I'll respond if he calls on me, but there's no way I'm going to volunteer. Okay, open to the next page, go. Raise your hand if you can tell me what's on this page. Just look at your own books. Look at your own books, please. You know what that is, Elaine? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you know what it is? Yes or no? Just yes or no answers. Do you know what that is, Tom? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you know what that is, Carol? Yes or no?
Possibly.
Do you know what that is, Stephanie? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you know what that is, Karen? Yes or no? Yes or no, Karen?
No.
Debbie, do you know what that is? Yes or no? Okay. Let's work with Debbie here, okay? Let me show you what happens with the learning disabled child in the classroom when he's unable to perceive. There's basically 4 things the teacher does when the child cannot perceive something. Here's the first thing that teachers do. Each one is a little bit sillier than the one in front of it. Here's the first thing that teachers do. Debbie, tell me what that is. Debbie, look at it.
A rock.
Debbie, look at it. Here it comes. Debbie, look at it harder. See, I don't know what that means. I've heard teachers for years tell kids to look at something harder. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what that means. I mean, I can push harder or pull harder, but I can't look at something harder. So the first thing we do is we tell them to look at it harder. That doesn't work. We do this. Debbie, put the book. You don't have to turn the book around. Second thing we do is we say we're going to give them something. Debbie, would you please tell me what that is? Tell me what that is, and you can be first in line for recess. Did that help?
No,
Why do we do that? Why do we do that as teachers? The child can't do something, so we automatically promise him something if he can. That would be like if I took my child to the hospital with a temperature of 105 degrees, and I went to the doctor and I said, "Doctor, my child's got a temperature of 105 degrees." And the doctor said, "Here, I tell you what, here, I'll give you this $1. I'll give you this $1 if you can get it down to 102, son." How would that be? You would expect the doctor to give some sort of medicine. You wouldn't expect the doctor to try to bribe the child out of his temperature, and yet that's what we do with kids. We try to bribe them by giving them things. Did that help, Debbie?
It's a man.
No. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's got a coat
Okay.
on.
All right. We do 3 things. We basically do. Now, the third thing we do is we begin taking things away. We begin taking things away from the child. Tell me what that is, or you can't go to recess. Tell me what that is, or I'll send a note home to your mother. Tell me what that is, or I'll drop you down a reading group. When that doesn't work, we go into our 4th mode, which is something that I find very distressing as a personality trait that many, many teachers have, and that is we do what's called blaming the victim. What we do is we blame Debbie. We say the reason Debbie can't tell me what this is she's not what? Trying hard enough. You see, what that reflects is what we call blaming the victim. That reflects blaming the victim. What we say is the reason the child can't tell me what this is that the child is not motivated. It's a motivational problem. Because we all know that the answer to learning disabilities is motivation, right? The key to overcoming learning disabilities is motivation, correct? Wrong. Wrong. Motivation is one of the most misunderstood concepts in education today. Motivation only enables us to do, to the best of our ability, what we are already capable of doing. Let's try it a little bit more. Debbie, can you tell me what this is now? Yes or no? Yes or no, Debbie?
No, I don't know what that thing is.
Okay, here we go, Debbie. I've got a check, blank check for $100. I will sign this over to you if you can tell me what this is in 5 seconds.
My husband's going to kill me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 more seconds for $100. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Was Debbie motivated? Was Debbie motivated? Could she do it? No. Because you see, learning disabilities has very little to do with motivation. What it really has to do with is perception. Perception. You see, you can all see this picture, but you can't perceive it. Here's what I'm going to do. I am now going to give you some direct instruction. Once I tell you what this is, about half of you will automatically get it, and you won't understand why you couldn't see it in the first place. The rest of you will need a little extra help, and that's okay too. There'll also be some of you who'll say, oh yeah, I know what that is, but you really don't. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Try, you really want to, once you see it, it's like turning on a light in a dark room. But this is a classic picture that illustrates the difference between vision and perception. You can all see it, but you can't bring meaning to it until I teach you what it is. And this activity is done to demonstrate that what the LD child needs is a teacher. He needs a teacher, not necessarily all kinds of commercial software. What he needs is a teacher to give him this direct instruction, because once I give you this direct instruction, you will be able to see this perfectly clearly. What you have in front of you is a photograph, a poor quality photograph, but the photograph of the face of a cow. The cow's looking directly in your face. Raise your hand if you cannot see it. I'll come around and show it to you. Raise your hand if you can't see it. Face of a cow.
Oh my God.
All right. All right. Anybody over here not see it? Anybody not see it? Nancy? Face of a cow. Okay, all right. Over here, anybody not see it? Tom, can you see it? Let me do Carolyn. Carolyn? It's the face of a cow. Okay, all right. Elaine? Face of a cow. Okay, anybody back here? Susan, Ann, Rita, Tom? Anybody not see it yet? Does anyone not see it? Okay, everyone please look at your picture. What do you have in front of you? It's a cow. It always was a cow. I didn't change it. I didn't change the stimulus. All I did is give you direct instruction. And yet what we do with learning disabled kids is we expect them to go in a corner and teach themselves. Or we assign them to the nearest intern or teacher aide or volunteer grandmother that we have. What they need is trained, experienced teachers. Once I taught you what this was, you had a little difficulty perceiving it. But you see, this doesn't really capture the experience of the LD child for this reason. No one in this room could do this. The real experience of learning disabilities is being the only person who can't do it. The other kids open up their books and they get to work, and the poor LD child sits there and thinks, what's everybody doing? I don't understand what this is. I can't understand this. Well, how can everybody get to work right away? See, that's the real experience of being learning disabled, is being the only one who can't do it.